All right, good afternoon, everybody. It is your best friend Justin here. We are taking a stroll right now through a park here in northwestern New Jersey. It is an absolutely beautiful day. Temperature is about upper 70 degrees here, and just a wonderful day to be outside. So anyway, I come to this park where I'm at pretty often. I live near it, and something I've noticed, and I've been noticing this for at least the past 5 years since I became aware of it, and I just really feel inclined to bring it up because I think it's an important topic. Is no one in the younger generation really goes out much anymore. I notice when I'm at these parks or if I'm walking through my town or whatever, most of the people I see out are either older people, as in over the age of 40, maybe just going for a walk or for a jog or whatever, or they're minors, under the age of 18, maybe high school or whatever, hanging out with their buddies, really. And I don't see anyone in their 20s or 30s much just walking around, talking on the street, meeting people that way. I feel like we're all meeting, we're relying on school to meet people, or we're relying on jobs to meet people, but that's not good because those things fade. Think about when you graduated high school, or especially when you graduated college. I'm sure when you graduated college, a lot of your roommates or the people you were friends with, your frat buddies, your sorority sisters, whatever, I'm sure they live in different states, and your relationship probably dissolves over time just from the distance. And same can be said with work, because the work things, I made plenty of friends in the work environment who you just lose touch with because you don't see each other. You might live about an hour from each other or whatever, but the point is that we as the young generation are not doing a good job at all cultivating relationships with each other. And I'm to blame too, because I'm in my late 20s, and something I've realized that I did a mistake in my late teens and early 20s when I graduated high school. A mistake that I realized I made was I didn't continue to play sports, because I played football and I ran track, right, in high school. And football is still my favorite sport, and I haven't played it in years. I didn't join because where I live now, there's really no leagues, but where I used to live, where I grew up, there was some leagues that were going on, and I could have joined, but I was always just nah, I'd rather focus on just going to the gym. And at that time, I didn't realize that it's not only is it good to compete with other guys, but it's a good way to make friends and have some purpose in life and feel like you're a part of something, and of course get some exercise, things like that. And it just helps keep you active and motivated as a man. It really does. But it doesn't have to be football. It could have been anything. I really just, now I've done that a little bit more, and unfortunately where I live, there's just not much of that, so I do end up having to go about 45 minutes to an hour out for some of these activities. But it's keeping me busy, and I feel like even when I go to these events, it's just people just go to the event to do the sport or whatever, and then they kind of just leave. No one really hangs out much. So maybe I'm looking too deep into this. Maybe you guys don't notice it, but I feel like people of my age, in their 20s and 30s, they just don't really go out much. They don't seek relationships in casual ways. When the younger generation thinks about going out and meeting people, we think about going to a bar or a club, and it's always alcohol related. That's what our generation is just so known for. Everything is just alcohol related, and nothing can just be taking a walk in a park and trying to meet people, going to the mall trying to meet people, just living your daily life and talking to people, trying to meet people in the community, and I don't know, I just feel like there's all these statistics that back up what I'm saying in terms of my generation is the most lonely, we're the most depressed, we're smoking less weed, drinking less alcohol, having less sex, smoking less cigarettes, which some of this might be a good thing, but it's the fact that we're the most lonely and depressed. We're not cultivating relationships. Most people don't have friends, especially young men, including myself. I don't have many friends, and I feel like guys specifically do a really bad job with trying to get out of the house because they get too comfortable playing video games, or getting caught up in Netflix series, things like that. So my point is that we live in a very socially isolated society where technology has gotten to a point where it's almost good enough for people. And don't get me wrong, people aren't happy, people aren't fulfilled. Even if you have 1 million followers on TikTok or whatever, or on Instagram, and you get all this constant validation or whatever, and you have no friends in real life, or the the reciprocation you get online is much better than you get in person, I mean, you know, it's not fulfilling overall, because we're not building real relationships. We're building these relationships online or virtually with each other, which isn't a bad thing. There's good things about it, but we're neglecting the human side of actual in-person connections with each other. And I can't help but think that when I walk through these parks, and even if there are people out, when it comes to like my generation, it's just, we kind of just, if there is a girl my age or whatever, or if you're walking by a girl or whatever, and you know, you kind of just say hi to each other, you don't really talk. Most guys are afraid to introduce themselves, this and that. And of course, you know, in this day and age, that is a slippery slope. You could get in trouble because, you know, there could be wrong ideas, this and that, wrong impressions or whatever, but I don't want to get into that. But anyway, my overall point with what I'm saying is I feel like we have lost a sense of community in the younger generation. We're so distant from our neighbors. None of us say hi to each other. We don't agree on anything. The smallest things divide all of us, and really no one can seem to get along or try to get along, and no one really cares too much about the issues that we see at hand. But anyway, I don't want to get too into the weeds of that. When it comes to community and you know, people in their 20s and 30s, there's really not much of it. No one really knows each other. You know, I don't understand, like, don't people feel lonely? Do people feel like, damn, like I should go out more? Like, do people feel this way? Like, I don't understand how people could just, you know, be alone for so long. Because I live alone, man. Like, I live alone, so I know what it's like to just feel lonely, and like at times where you know, you feel like, oh, I got no one to talk to or hang out with. And listen, it could be a positive thing, because it's better to have no one in your life than negative influences, of course. But the point is that you live, or there's billions of people in this world, and we're all, my generation in particular, is becoming very socially isolated, socially awkward too. You know, it's when I talk to people these days, my age, especially younger, especially the people I work with that are in their early 20s or late teens, whatever. I mean, they're very socially awkward. And mind you, this is the generation coming up, you know, that did a lot of their youth years of school during COVID, being locked up and all that shit. But also, it's just technology, man. It's social media making us awkward, making us weird, making us have a false perception of reality. So, and then in turn, people are comfortable just sitting at home and not communicating in person. So therefore, you don't see much people out. Therefore, you see a significant lack of friendships in people, especially genuine friendships. And you have a distant community to where no one supports each other, no one really knows each other, no one really says hi to each other too much. And you know, people are divided because of this. Therefore, the powers that be in this world, they can continue to get to what they want, because there is an agenda behind this, and the agenda is to simply just take people apart to where there's no sense of community, so that they can be more easily swayed, manipulated, and they can fight with each other, as opposed to fight who's really causing chaos between us and dividing us. But anyway, I really hope I said something to make you think here a little bit. Let me know what you guys think about community and my generation with the technology, and you know, the lack of friendships, and even just intimate relationships, how there's a lack of that. But anyway, you guys all have a good day.